Welcome to another episode of Market Pulse. On our last episode, we discussed about market overreaction due to the election fear and uncertainty. When we were discussing about the topic, all share index was 10,600. Now it has jumped to 11,600. It was 1,000 points gain from the day that we discussed the topic. I hope our viewers had a meaningful insight from our last discussion and made use of the outcome of the discussion. In today's discussion, we thought to focus on latest development in the political arena and how that can impact the investments in Sri Lanka. I'm bringing in two veteran stockbrokers, Mr. Salya Gamadidara, AGM Sales, SE Securities, with 33 years of experience and in the stock market, and his expertise goes into technical analysis and fundamental analysis. Mr. Salya Gamadidara, welcome to the show.
Pleasure, Flal.
Then I am bringing in Mr. Lawrence David, another veteran stockbroker who is having 38 years of experience in the industry, and his expertise is also going into technical analysis and fundamental analysis. Mr. David, welcome to the show.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here again for a better future.
On my first question, let me give some statistics. Based on UN Trade and Development data, world FDI value is around $1.3 trillion in 2022. Our neighboring countries, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan have attracted FDIs in those periods. India attracted significant amount of FDIs, especially into sectors like information technology, e-commerce, and renewable energy. In 2022 itself, India has attracted closer to $84 billion in foreign direct investments. Bangladesh has attracted $2.9 billion, while Sri Lanka has attracted less than $1 billion. Some might argue that Sri Lanka has a very small market, but we are located, geologically we are located next to India, which is a huge market. Based on India Brand Equity Foundation, in 2023, India consumer market is $1.5 trillion and expected to grow at $6 trillion by 2030. Further, we have Sri Lanka and India have come into agreements, bilateral agreements. India-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement, where we can export closer to 4,000 products with no tariff concessions. Why haven't we seen any investments for a significant amount of foreign direct investments while we have a huge market next to us? The first question I would like to discuss with the panel. Salya, what do you think? What went wrong?
Actually, if you look from the perspective of an investor, they consider key metrics when it comes to investments. Two of the main metrics are political stability and economic stability. As we all know, we had some issues, major issues since 2022, and fortunately, those economic challenges have been sorted out for a considerable amount. Meaning, we have progressed during that 2.5 years to a certain level where now in a situation of having a comfortable base, so that the moving forward, as I mentioned last time, we have come to point A, and it's a matter of taking the economy forward to point B. Due to that reason, talking of economic stability, there is progress happening and there is a lot to happen. Talking of the political stability, with with the change of regimes and the indications that we get from the political space is also looking positive, and which helps the investors to consider the country for their investment opportunities. So I believe the key metrics of economic stability and political stability will become more positive and lucrative for investors to look at Sri Lanka.
Thank you. David, would you like to shed some light on this?
Yes, continuing on to what Salia said also, like I think there was an issue of foreign investment coming here due to not having clear policies, right? The frameworks are not done. Ease of business, there was an issue, right? And there was no one-stop shop for the foreigners to come in. So they had to, go from pillar to post to get a certain project passed. So that was not a healthy note for foreign investment. And I think the current president, new president, has understood this, right? And I hear that he has made necessary instructions to get the BOI to set up the one-stop shop here and make doing business easy here in Sri Lanka. So there was an issue of that nature earlier, which did not make the environment conducive for foreign investors to come here, right? And I think that is going to get sorted out, and it is going to get sorted out, and that will facilitate more foreigners coming here for business.
Okay. In adding to that, I can put like this: locally and globally, things are changing. Like with the latest development, what has happened, if we point it out one by one, Sri Lanka has reached agreement in principle with the external creditors, which was one of the major obstacles. And the credit rating, again, Fitch has reaffirmed that we are on RD rating, and especially on President Anil Kumar Dissanayake on his inaugural speech, he said they intended to continue with the IMF program and proceed with the debt restructuring immediately with the aim to achieving debt sustainability. That is the development that we saw in the last few days. And in the meantime, there were some developments globally as well. If you see Fed rates, it came down by 50 basis points. So, in an interview, the Chief Investment Officer of Matthews Asia, Mr. Sean Taylor, when he was telling about the Fed rates, he was stating that the emerging markets can get benefited when the rates started to come down. So now around 5.25%, they are expecting the Fed rates to come down to 3.25% in the coming days, in the coming years. So, which means the emerging markets can get funding at a lower cost. So, emerging markets can attract new investments, foreign investments to their own country with their own projects. Can Sri Lanka attract new foreign investments? Let me start with Saleh.
Yeah, certainly. Once again, I would like to emphasize on the measures the government, the previous and the present regime is taking with regards to managing the economy, which is very important for investors to come in. At the same time, we can see from the new regime's perspective that they are committed and they are keen in designing a level playing field for the investors to come and do their investments. We saw even during the time before taking office, the President Disanayaka was mentioning that, and he invited investors to come and do business in Sri Lanka. So the environment is now opportune for investors to look at Sri Lanka seriously, and the infrastructure and the facilitating efforts of the new regime, if they are fruitful, there is no doubt that we will see the investors looking at us seriously.
Mr. David, can you give me some?
Yes, definitely the investors will come into Sri Lanka, right? There's no two words about it, because of the attempts and efforts made by the new president, right? One is elimination of corruption, right? So he assures that there won't be any further corruption in this country, right? So as I mentioned earlier, the ease of doing business, right? The rules and regulations that he will be bringing, right? All this will be, and the political stability that he will bring in. He will make sure that he put key personnel in the key places to ensure that the business will take off. So there is no two words, political stability, and the risk premium will also reduce, which will, once he sorts out the IMF and the ISBs, and this will definitely give a premium to the foreign investors to come into this country and do business. I mean, we have seen in the short term how and what measures he has taken, and as he promised in his manifesto, right? I mean, the short term action plan will materialize. Sooner than later it will happen. Already he has instructed the one-stop shop to be done and the ease of business to be going through smoothly. So there is no two words, the foreign investment come. Already, as far as I know, there are many inquiries that have stepped foot right now into Sri Lanka, and based on that he has made a comment saying that don't let any foreign investor go away. They will make that environment conducive. More importantly, there won't be any strikes, riots hereafter, from what we expect and hope that he will control all this. So he has the power, he has the authority, he will make sure it happens. So there won't be any hesitation, the foreigners will definitely come to Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka will be able to attract new foreign
Investments.
Talking about the political risk, as you said, we saw that risk was there like 1 year or 2 years ago, due to the after the previous president moving out of the office, and now that political risk is fading away, and we know a clear party which is going to rule the country for the next 5 years, most probably. Therefore, we thought to pull out their manifesto, right? So NPP's manifesto lines out key steps that they will take to promote investments, right? So as you correctly say, the first step that they were talking about is integrate the state institutions like BOI into single body to promote investments efficiently. Another point that they were talking about, legal framework to ensure transparency and fairness for both foreigners and local investors. Steps will be taken to improve global competitive index. Venture capital will be formed to promote new investments. And strategically important sectors they will give prominent on the basis of long-term investments. They will try to attract foreign investments into that area. What they say is they will select case by case. But the important thing here is what they are talking about is public, private, and people partnership. Previously, we have heard about PPP. Now we have 4 Ps. And then they are talking about the enhancement and expanding capital market, listing of SME companies, and fairness and good governance in the capital market. David, let me invite you to shed some light. Do you think this investment climate the country will change. And if you can tell us about this public-private people partnership, if you can elaborate what is it all about?
Yeah. As I said earlier, there's no two words. The climate is definitely going to change, right? And President has said in his before his election that he wants the people also to benefit from this entire development, right? So that is where the extra P comes in, right? Private public partnership, but the people have to benefit from this. So that is where it comes private public people's partnership, right? So in any employment, it's not the ultimate balance sheet that would matter. How many people are getting employed? That extra people getting employed will stimulate the economy, because there will be more people getting money and more spending happening, right? So that plus if you take Y again, all the decisions that they have taken are very carefully scrutinized, right? They have identified key sectors that they should develop, right, with trade agreements and all those sort of things as we discussed even earlier, right? The power and energy sector, right? IT sector, right? All these things put together will certainly develop, and the investors will definitely come in, right? So implementation, as you said, we are all now watching whether he's going to walk the talk, right? And he understands it that he needs to do it very fast. So definitely with the election coming up, right, the general election, and the environment will be 100% conducive for any investor, whether it's local or foreign.
Yeah, cannot agree more with David. He explained everything precisely. See, as far as political stability is concerned, the political will is an important task, and we heard in a lot of forums the representatives of the party had been talking about it, and we as citizens have always were yearning to see the political will in executing whatever the measures that they are taking, and people have given the mandate, feeling confident about it, and that's the that's we are hopeful, and people will be looking at their performance, and if things fall in line, as David quite rightly mentioned, things will be certain.
Okay. So now we understand that the environment for the investments are coming together. So let me ask from the panel one question, right? Where we can invest? What are the asset classes that we have in Sri Lanka for these investments? So basically, the popular investments that normal Sri Lankans can invest is the property. When you have gold, in terms of we can't physically invest in the gold, but we can invest through jewelries and fixed income instruments we have, as well as investment in the stock market. Can you explain about these asset classes and their embedded features? Let me start with Sally.
Sure. Mifla is like this. The perception and the traditions of the Sri Lankan community is to always build their houses, invest in land and property, and it's something very popular in terms of investing asset classes even today. And it's a huge market, and it's basically a dream to own your property or your house. So that's like interwoven inside the households of the country. The other thing is, if you take gold is also something similar to that. Owning gold in Sri Lanka is like, is showing off your wealth. So that has that prestige effect. I don't think people are looking at these asset classes in Sri Lanka as investments per se. It's their belonging. Thereafter only they will be looking at, increasing value and deciding on whether to part with it with a considerable return. But those are long-term horizons, or otherwise those if they have those plans, they are all long-term. The return on investments will be realized in the long run. When it comes to the stock market, the penetration, the literacy of the understanding of investing in stock in equity, in the equity market, is primitive, I would say, because still it doesn't have the same relationship that they have to the other two asset classes. When it comes to FIS also, is an investment not for all and sundry. It has a specific set of citizens in the country who will understand how to invest in that. You compare that with the global trend, it's a complete different scenario. When it comes to even properties or jewelry or other gold, even we from Sri Lanka, we can trade on those asset classes. So they are basically, it's not only two asset classes which are tangible, and the ownership will also, the investor also wants to experience the tangible effect of those assets. Like in Sri Lanka, in the global markets, we can trade on them and it's very liquid, whereas here in Sri Lanka it's not liquid as such. At the same time, the capacity of investments, you need large capital to invest in those asset classes in Sri Lanka, whereas in investing in the secondary market, these tradable commodities and tradable assets are freely available in other mature and developed markets. So talking of the advantage that we have in the stock market in Sri Lanka is that similar to trading properties, similar to trading gold in other countries, we have only one asset class in Sri Lanka where you can trade and gain ownership as well. At the same time, you don't need large capital. It's like it's a universal instrument where the smallest investor to the largest investor can take part of that investment and take ownership of those listed companies. So it's a versatile, interesting investment. But of course, you need to have the education, as I mentioned, the literacy level has to increase, and people who are interested will be rewarded when they are investing into this particular asset class called stock market.
David, would you like to add something?
Yes, the tendency to invest in the stock market is greater mainly due to the factor of liquidity. Right? You can get in anytime you want, you can get out anytime you want. There is a regulated system to trade in the stock market, right? A foolproof system, I would say. If you invest in other assets like gold and property, right, there is a risk of, people having forged documents, and the scrutiny level to go through and get a clear deed in a property is a bit of a troublesome thing, right? And then probably if you have a large estate or a property, you need to put security to protect that, right? If you have gold, you have a risk of robberies, right? Now all those are not there, and it also adds to the cost to do those, right? So invest in the stock market is much more easier. Liquidity factor is there, right? So As Saleh said, you need the education level, the knowledge on what to buy, what to sell, when to buy, how to scrutinize this. But systems are there, education methods are there. So it's easier to invest in the stock market than compared to the other assets. So globally, it's accepted now.
Okay, it's complicated instrument like investing in the stock market. That asset class is a little bit complicated. So in a
But the rewards are high.
higher reward, yeah. And in a situation like this, like a regime change, right? Shall we? I would like to ask from the panel, educate our viewers, right? What should we do, right? How to focus, where to focus, what to focus, which companies to buy or sell, how to select companies. So let me add, let me focus our discussion into this area. I have pulled out again this NPP 2024 manifesto. From there, we can understand which area that they are going to focus in their regime, right? So basically, the priority areas are information and communication technology, tourism, agriculture, energy, fisheries and aquaculture, manufacturing and industrial zones. So since this is a very complicated area, need financial knowledge, at least some kind of, since you both of you are like veteran in the industry, please share some knowledge, some strategies, how to select big companies in this sectors that the government is going to prioritize.
Right. The main sector amongst the, or rather, main sector in the economy is the banking and finance sector. Almost all the banks, registered banks in Sri Lanka, are listed in the Colombo Stock Exchange. And last time I was talking about, three values. So basically, you need to understand those values, and to put that in a more simple way, I would like to take us back to year 2011, when we saw the all share index recording an all-time high level of 7,800. This one of the values that we give, or one of the ratios that we look at, is called the price earnings ratio of the market, and it was between 20 to 25 times the earnings of the overall market. Then moving forward in 2021, when the index surpassed that 7,800 and moved to the next all-time high of 9,025, the price earnings ratio of the market was something like 14 times. Then coming a little bit further, 2 years, 2022, when we had the significant all-time high level of 13,593, the price earnings ratio was 15 times. But today the PE is between 7 and 8 times, and we are at 11,600. So these are valuations that are very, very important when we are investing in in this asset class called stocks. And coming back to the banking and finance sector, as I mentioned, all the leading banks in Sri Lanka, except the state banks, are all listed, and all these key banks are trading at lower than the market PE. At the same time, if you take their net asset value or their book value as one, they are trading half that amount and below. Some are trading at 0.3, 0.4 times of that value of one. So, analyzing, see, even in the properties or gold, we will be trying to, understand a value, then only we will be able to at least purchase those or invest into those asset classes. Here there are methods. True enough, it's a little bit complicated, but it's not hard, right? If you're keen, you can get educated and invest into this lucrative investment avenue. The talking of these sectors, the main important thing in the market is that all these sectors, the government is interested in looking at and developing. Most of these sectors or the listed companies connected to those sectors are involved or in the market, in the stock market. So when the economy is thriving, the benefits are reflected in those companies as well. So you need, the other two main sectors that the government is looking seriously are the agricultural sector and the tourism sector. The tourism sector itself, we have all the prominent tourism companies, the leisure companies are listed in the stock market, and the opportunities you have along with the development of that sector will be able to enjoy if you carefully invest into those companies. And even talking of agriculture, we know the sizable part of agriculture or that agricultural sector is to do with the plantation companies or plantations in Sri Lanka. They are well known for generations, and all those plantation companies are listed in the Colombo Stock Exchange. You can benefit if you know and analyze carefully. When it comes to plantations, we have tea, rubber, coconut. In addition to those three crops, we know the palm plantation industry as well. There are also the companies who are involved in business in that sector also are quoted. Talking of as you mentioned, the strategies, right? It's you need to educate yourself and figure out where to invest, and these are the three main sectors which are in line with the plans of the government as well. These are the sectors to concentrate on. I think David would add more to that.
David, can you?
Yeah, if you see, if you are aligned to the NPP policies, right, and we know what the sectors are, as you mentioned some of them now. So we need to, if you are looking at stock market investment, we need to see what companies listed on the stock exchange, right, are connected to these sectors that the government has identified, right. Apart from that, right, even if it's not there, if you look at how this would benefit the economy, right, like Saleh mentioned the hotel sector, right. The hotel sector, we should not only merely look at the hotel profit and loss, right. There are others, FMCG sector, all the supply chains to the hotels, right, transport sector, right, employment creation. All these are areas that will develop around this sector, right. Another sector the government again is looking at, I know, is the IT sector, right. They have understood the need to align with foreign developers, foreign IT companies. So they will invite the foreign IT companies to come join the Sri Lankan companies and then venture to the international market, right? Because India is playing a major role in the software industry, right? So without we trying to go and compete with an Indian company in the US market, they will ask the Indian company to team up with the Sri Lankan company and then go to the US market. So these are strategies that the government have identified and they will implement it, right? Another sector that will grow with these developments, right? Now we are looking at how to identify companies, right? So let's look at the tourism sector, the government allows vehicles to be brought down to the tourism sector, right? If it's leasing, banks will benefit, right? All these connected developments will definitely give a major share of growth to the banking sector, right? So banks picking up, right, will definitely take the stock market up, right? So if you look at how these are integrated, right, it's not that difficult to pick up the shares. So this is a total integrated development program that people mandated the president to deliver. So now it's the delivery time. So if you observe the delivery time and you see, your returns are there.
I think viewers got a very clear picture what we should do in this kind of a regime change. I would like to thank Mr. Salia and Mr. David for coming in today and share the immense knowledge, the experience. 30 plus years means it's huge. They have seen market cycles, few market cycles they might have easily seen. So they can really picture what is coming and where what is about to come and where we need to focus our investments in the coming future. So while thanking the panels, I thank you, our viewers, for watching us today, and I hope you will gain much knowledge through our discussion. Hope to see you in another episode.
For more latest news, subscribe to FTTV.